going on, YouTube? R-double-E to the dash Z-O-N coming at you once again, man. And I'm on a slow, steady drive to work. Running a little bit late today. Had to go back home and change. My little boy messed up my clothes. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it is what it is, man. I figured I'd take this time to do a video. And I was just thinking, man, I declared myself a Nintendo fan. I'm a video gamer at heart, man. I play video games across all platforms. And I own multiple platforms, but I'm a Nintendo guy at heart, man. And I have all the Nintendo consoles, and I've enjoyed every Nintendo console and handheld down the line at one time or another. And I figured, man, why not just do a retrospective, man? A retrospective on this amazing game console / game making company that is the giant in the industry that has been around throughout all of its history, whereas others have come and gone. You know what I'm saying? So I said, let me do this video. And basically, I mean, I guess for me it started where it started for so many, and where it started for people who aren't even Nintendo fans today. Their gaming history, unless they're young, unless they were born in the late 90s, 2000s, unless that's the case, if y'all are anywhere near my age, gaming started for you with the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Nintendo's revolutionary machine that just not only, bro, this machine reinvigorated, rejuvenated, reinvented, redefined, revolutionized, all those things and more, the gaming industry, which was crashing ever since the mid to late 80s. But then around 1984, the NES showed up on the scene and just blew the doors off of everything and brought the gaming industry back to where it became profitable again, and people started making games and fans started enjoying them. Man, for me, that's where it started, man. Around 1989, maybe 1990, I was introduced to the NES. My sister had gotten one for her birthday, my older sister. And though it was hers, because they bought it for her, I began little by little to siphon hours off, from her playtime and just be playing and playing and playing until it just eventually became mine by default. And man, of course, I can go back and tell you about the memorable, impactful moments I've had with Super Mario Brothers. I mean, who can't, man? The original Super Mario Brothers, come on now. Legend of Zelda. Even though Legend of Zelda was fun and I enjoyed it at that time, I was too young to really appreciate it the way I do now, but I still enjoyed the crap out of it and played it left and right. I can go back and talk about all the classic games like Super Mario Bros., Legend of Zelda, Metroid, things of that nature, but really, for a kid who's 6, 7 years old at most, those games are great and I enjoyed them thoroughly. But a kid that age, with the mentality of a kid, for me, the thing that really blew me away about the NES was the licensed games, believe it or not. And what I mean by that is, man, picture it. I'm a kid. I'm coming home after school every day, religiously watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. Well, all of a sudden, here comes a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle video game. And here comes Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game on the NES. Used to watch Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers, DuckTales. Boom, they got video games. Those were the moments that blew me away. Because as a kid, you would sit there and watch these characters and these cartoons and these shows and these movies that impacted your life. And at that time in your development, your mind is being shaped. All these memories and all these moments are etching, their way through your psyche and creating you into the person that you're going to be later in life. And for me to be able to watch these characters and these movies and these shows that impacted the hell out of me, and all of a sudden now as a young kid you're telling me I have the power now to turn on this machine and not just watch these characters or these movies or these shows, but control them, interact with them, be a part of their world. You know what I'm saying? That blew me away. That's what hooked me onto gaming, and not just gaming, but the NES and Nintendo in general. The fact that I could turn on the system and be Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, be Scrooge and his nephews, be Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, be Nightmare on Elm Street, the Nightmare on Elm Street game, I remember that, Jaws, all these games, man, that, some people want to review them as horrible games by today's standards, of course. It's funny how hindsight is 20/20, they don't really remember that, but back then, those games blew my mind, so that's where it all started with me, man. And then as I got older, and I got word that the Super Nintendo was imminent, was about to come out, that one was for me. That one my parents bought specifically for me because, my sister, being older than me by about 4 or 5 years, she had basically not fallen in love with games the way I had. She played them more as a casual thing here and there, whereas I couldn't be taken away from the system for more than an hour or I would go into withdrawal. You know what I'm saying? So They bought me the SNES on its launch date, and that bad boy came packed in with Super Mario World. Man, you remember that? You remember when systems came packed in with a full-fledged motherfucking game? You remember that? Man, those were the good times, man. You remember the NES came with Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt, and the gun and everything, man. And then Super Nintendo came with Super Mario World, which was a fucking beast that I play to this day. And Sega Genesis came packed in with Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, those were good old days, man. I remember the PlayStation 1 came out, and that came with a demo disc. And all the PlayStation fanboys were going crazy. Yeah, we're gonna demo this, man. Check this out. This is revolutionary. The fuck, man. You got a level for... You get to play a level for a game. 5 different games on that demo disc. A level for each. They didn't even whet your appetite. Get the fuck out of here, man. I remember when systems used to come with a game packed in, man. That as soon as you put down your $150 to $200 on that bad boy, you could take that shit home and then start enjoying that motherfucker from the moment you plugged it into your TV, man. That was the shit. The Wii, the original Wii, brought that back when it came packed in with Wii Sports. But other than that, nobody really does that anymore, man. Production costs have gotten ridiculous, and it's just, it's hard. I mean, the Wii U comes with Nintendo Lands. You know, that's good, but it depends on which SKU you buy. So, it's not the same, man. But anyway, Super Nintendo, man. Oh, man, I remember Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. I remember Super Mario World. I remember Super Metroid, Castlevania games. Oh, man. Bro, what else did I used to play on the Super Nintendo, man? I used to like a lot of the Disney games, man. The Lion King, Aladdin, man, those shits blew me away, man. Star Fox. When Star Fox came out, man, I remember the FX chip, the polygons and all that. We thought that was so badass back then. Man, the Super Nintendo, man, that brought so much joy. And that was just like the NES on steroids. Graphical upgrades, sound upgrades, many more colors displayed on the screen. All the games were bigger, beefier. The game library itself was ginormous by the end of its life cycle. Man, I remember Mortal Kombat 2. Remember Mortal Kombat 1 on the Super Nintendo was a piece of shit. But Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo, now that was the shit. That was awesome, man. I mean, I remember, man. I remember like it was yesterday, bro. So many great games on the SNES, man. And then the different peripherals that came out, the Super Scope and things like that. Bro, that was awesome, man. And then I remember it was around 96, September 96, that what I still consider to this day to be the greatest gaming machine ever created by human hands, the Nintendo 64, or as it was codenamed before it dropped, which I actually would have liked, it would have kept that name, Ultra 64. That fucking beast. When that shit came out, man, I was already all over it. I was already so deep into gaming that I was monthly subscribed to GamePro magazine. My boys were subscribed to EGM. We were all over that shit, man. And as soon as we got word that the N64 was coming out, and I remember they used to put in the mail to select residents. They would deliver in your mail on VHS promotional video of the N64 showing. You can find that on YouTube. You can actually look it up. I looked it up the other day, and I just went back to memory lane, bro. It shows like Nintendo basically advertising the N64. They got these 3 gamers, these 3 kids who are like fucking beast gamers. One is a fighting game specialist, the other one is a action adventure specialist, and they all come down to Nintendo headquarters and they all test out the N64. They're the first ones to get to see it from the public. So you got them. They were testing out Mario 64, Pilot Wing 64, and Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Man, that shit. I remember when I saw that shit. My boy got it in the mail, brought it over to my house. We popped that bitch in the VCR. Damn, the VCR. We popped that shit in the VCR. We started watching that shit, man, and we were just fucking astounded at the graphics of that system, bro. We could not wait for that bad boy to come out. And when that bitch came out, man, it's that Christmas. It came out in September. I was so on my parents about getting me that system. I knew by that point where my parents would hide the Christmas presents. So every day after it dropped, after September 11th or whatever it was, September 16th or whatever it was that it dropped, ever since that day, I was under my parents' bed and in the closet looking at all the different spots where they stash the presents until I finally saw the box for the N64. When I saw that box, I could have died happy right there, man. And man, that Christmas came and I have my N64. Boom, all morning I was playing that bitch. We have a tradition in our family, especially when I was living with my mom and my dad. We would wake up Christmas morning, open up our presents, go crazy, enjoy them for a little while. Then we would get dressed and go to my grandma's house. And there, the entire family would meet up there, and we'd open more presents there and have a, Christmas breakfast, brunch, whatever, and spend the day there, just chilling. I didn't even want to go I used to love that, and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to turn off the N64. They had to pry me away from that bitch. They got me the N64 with Wave Race 64, which was fucking revolutionary. For me, that game blew my socks off. The water physics, the music, the colors, the fact that it was 3D, and I had never seen, as much as gaming as I had done, until that point, I had never seen a fully three-dimensional game that did it that well. Oh, man, it was Wave Race 64. And what else? What else did I get? I can't believe I'm forgetting. The Wave Race 64, and I believe Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Those were my two launch titles that I got. Oh my goodness, man, the memories. I could spend this whole video talking to you about the memories that I had and that I created with the Nintendo 64, and that I still have to this day. We're in 2013, and I still have that bitch plugged in my bedroom. That's one of the only systems that has the privilege of being in my bedroom, where the rest of them are on display in my entertainment center in the living room. That's 64, baby, man. Oh, Pilot Wing 64, my favorite game of all time. Oh, man. Mario 64. Man, Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Smash Brothers. God, man, what a great system, man. Goemon Mystical Ninja, Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Oh, man, hours on GoldenEye 007 multiplayer. South Park, you know. Man, it was such a phenomenal system, man. I had so many good memories of that. By that time, my gaming love and passion was just growing as Nintendo kept dropping shit. And I'm not even mentioning the handhelds. I had the original Game Boy, played the shit out of it. Had for a little while, I had the Game Boy Pocket, the little flip one. Game Boy Advance, I skipped out on. Not that it was a bad console, that just by that time I didn't have no time for handhelds. I wanted the consoles. But you know, Nintendo DS Lite. I had a Zelda edition. But man, right after the N64, man, I rode out on the N64 so hard. You know, third party started giving them trouble, and PlayStation started out selling it. I didn't give a rat's ass. N64 was where it was at for me. You could not touch the wrestling games on the N64. To this day, you can't touch the wrestling games on the N64. And it was just a phenomenal period in gaming history for me, man. It was the best. It was kind of like, if you compare it to wrestling, it was like the Monday Night Wars. A time that'll never be recreated, a time of fever pitch, just awesomeness, man, in gaming. Then, you know, it was time for that generation to die down. PlayStation 2 was coming out, the Xbox was making its debut, and Nintendo comes out with the GameCube. I love the fucking GameCube. I'll tell you this, it is the only Nintendo console that didn't really innovate. Out of all the ones, every console they drop always innovates in some way, somehow, changes the game somehow, some way. This one didn't really do it. They tried to play the competitor's game and just say, you know what, we're gonna give it a beefy graphical upgrade, a brand new controller, and that's it. And commercially, it didn't work very well for Nintendo. But I love the fucking GameCube, and I think true Nintendo fans all over the world appreciate the shit out of that system, because it had some of the greatest games ever, man. Star Fox Adventures, my favorite game on the GameCube library. An epic action-adventure exploration title. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Mario Sunshine. Smash Brothers Melee. Oh, man. There's so many great games. I mean, I got a bunch of them. Some of them you guys might not even heard of. GoldenEye 007 Rogue Agent. Man, what else? Oh, Star Wars Rogue Squadron Rogue Leader. And the Rogue Squadron Rebel Strike. Episode 1 Pod Racer. Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Man, there were so many great titles to grace the GameCube. And Wave Race Blue Storm, which was one of my launch titles when I first got the Cube on the Christmas of 2000. Oh man, I enjoyed the shit out of that system. I mean, there was so many great memories, man. And then, you know, after that generation died down, Nintendo drops a bomb on the gaming world with a Nintendo Wii. Graphical power, nowhere near the competitor. Technological power and specs, nowhere near the competitor. And yet the Wii, with its brand new motion controls, innovative gameplay, bombshell titles like Smash Brothers Brawl, Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, No More Heroes, Endless Ocean 1 and 2, oh man, just Kirby's Epic Yarn, Donkey Kong Country Returns, 007 GoldenEye, all these bombshell titles, man, on that machine with the motion controls. Just epic, man. And now the Wii U, I'm just enjoying the shit out of it, man. I'm running out of time, that's why I'm kind of going fast. But yeah, man, this has been basically my off the top of the head reminiscence or retrospective on what Nintendo has meant to me. Just the amazing experiences I've had with all their consoles, and it's just that's why they'll always be #1 for me, man. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Getting to work now, so I'm gonna upload in a little while. God bless y'all. Stay gaming. Do what you do. Peace.